Trust for server upgrades. I think we have Trey, maybe give us a bit of a breakdown of what we're dealing with.
Yep, got your packet there. Everything you see up here will be there just for more detail. There's some pictures and things that you'll appreciate there that you can see closer. So thanks for having me this evening. This is a shift from what I proposed in the budget earlier this year. It was due to a licensing change for the virtual computing platform in which we use here at Lin-Wood for most everything, in which I'll show you. So this is the shift from the Sonic Wall, which would be the firewall device that I was going to replace this year. So this is a shift to replacing virtual server platform, virtual computing platform. So what is virtual computing? It's the idea that a physical computer can act like multiple computers, allowing users to run multiple operating systems and applications on the same piece of physical hardware. So it's done by creating what's called a virtual machine, which is a software-based computer. So it's not a physical computer as this, it's a virtual as in software-based. And with that model, you can run numerous operating systems and application servers off of one single piece of hardware. So to this point in Lin-Wood's history, we've been using virtualization since well before I arrived. It's extremely cost effective. It allows you to do more with less ultimately. And as the technology has grown, it's become much more efficient in terms of power consumption, also much more efficient in terms of memory, in terms of data storage. These things, as with technology, everything becomes smaller, more efficient, less heat displacement, things of that nature. So at this point, we're ready to upgrade our entire platform and stack, which runs most internal services here at the school and on the district as a whole. So Lin-Wood uses virtual computing for this array of services. Anything that you see Microsoft in front of is what's required to run the day-to-day production operations here at the school, i.e. Wi-Fi, printing, security, identity control, policy application for identities and roles of our teachers and staff to ensure, again, data security, data privacy, also uptime essentially is our big plus here. We want to stay up and running with every service we have as much as we can so we don't lose 1 minute of educational time. So as you can see, that's a bevy of everything, again, relating to school lunch, relating to asset management, patch management for the operating systems and the servers. This list is much smaller than it used to be. We used to run the budgeting software locally on a virtual machine. We used to run, we had an SAU, school information system that was hosted locally in years past. So as those services got moved to the cloud, we were able to offload some of our load with this computing hardware. So this is the most current list of what we have that's running virtually right now. And again, it's in the, with these are 18 roles, I believe. There's 15 total servers that are currently, or 17 servers that are running within our mainframe. This is our our logic stack, as it were, behind my desk in the office. So that's why I say with the picture you can see, obviously every arrow is pointing to a physical server that's running 24/7, consuming power, creating heat, and basically creating points of failure in the future. The bottom two servers are 20 plus years old. I don't have those guys running any critical production software at this point. They're more of the redundant servers that we have to back up the things that are running currently on the other 3 servers above it. But at this point, this is what we're running, like I said, 24/7 in our rack. And we can't get away with any less servers, right? And by that, I mean logical servers. Physical servers, we can absolutely cut that down because, as I said before, the technology has grown to a point where you can operate on much less because it's that much more efficient. The circuitry, the chips, the memory, everything is just blown away what used to be. And again, each physical server you're looking at here, if the bought new, would be $8,000 and $12,000 a piece, is essentially what they run for. The newest one's on top. We purchased that in 2019, I believe, and it ran right around $9,000 to get that up and running. And again, migrating the older stuff to the newer stuff in order to have, that guaranteed uptime. The platform in which we're using for virtual computing is called VMware ESXi. This was a free licensed model. It's not open source, so it is safe, it is upgraded, it does have security patches. So we use that widely throughout every year that I've been here, in addition to before that. So again, it's free support, but it does have limited upgrades. The cons were the feature sets that come with it as the backup, the disaster recovery pieces of the VMware platform are a licensed feature, and they're extremely expensive, like enterprise level expensive. And even more so now than they were. So the free model is gone away, as in, what we're running right now, I won't be able to have any upgrades to the operating system, or to the virtualization layer of the virtual computing platform, which means everything that runs on everything else, essentially. So what happened was, Broadcom bought VMware just in February of last year. And they said, we are done giving away anything. So that means, again, closing an era, because so many enterprises, small businesses ran on, in education especially, ran on ESXi hypervisor freeware. And it was well supported, had a huge community. Like I said, it was endless support. So Broadcom decided to, bam, they cut off the upgrades, the updates for security are no longer available. And this hit education, every other industry like a ton of bricks. Broadcom raised their prices for VMware licensing 300 to 500% for every customer, no matter of your industry, if you're public facing, if you're private, didn't matter, because they are done giving away free stuff. So that's why I say the shift happened. February this news broke, I had already had my budget proposed in there rolling, so this was kind of like cut the brakes and reassess our needs and kind of prioritize what's more important for us. And it is, to me, and I believe professionally, it's that virtual computing stack that needs to stay maintained and updated for, again, security and accessibility uptime. There are alternatives to VMware, most of which are enterprise level. There are other freeware offerings, but they're not supported by any one entity. It's an open source model that they live on. And when you have an open source model, there's a lot of corruptibility that's possible. There's a lot of things that are not guaranteed for you. Everyone knows there's no such thing as a free lunch. Kind of falls under that purview. Yes, we could set it up, we could run it, but we run into a problem where we lose functionality with this one and not that one. There's no one to call. There's no support system other than a forum, your buddies can help you out with. So a lot of the options that are free are just totally unavailable to us in a realistic fashion. So what you see is Microsoft, obviously, is super expensive. Citrix Hypervisor is a Cisco company. That is beyond our scope of yearly cost incursion. So we went with Scale Computing. Scale Computing is a virtualization platform that revolutionized what's called a hypercore. So they approach virtualization different than the other company. And by doing that with their patented technology, they can allow all of the functionality and the resources that we require currently and beyond on a piece of hardware no larger than this. So essentially, what you see at the top is one scale node. What you see at the bottom is 3 nodes. You have a node for current production, you have a node for failover, and you have a node for hot swap failover. So there's 2 layers of redundancy with this stack. I do not have this level of redundancy currently in our system. I have 2 levels of redundancy. This gives us 3 layers of redundancy that will auto-mitigate itself, it'll self-heal. When it sees that there's a problem with one of the virtual machines, it'll immediately kick it out and bring in a new one and just resume in real time, nothing stops, everything keeps moving. It's extraordinary technology. I was introduced to it, well, at a couple conferences, but before that I was introduced to it by Bart, who used to work some technology conferences, and these guys were a small startup whenever he was doing this years and years ago. They positioned themselves currently to be the #3 VMware alternative in the entire space at this point. So their technology is sound, it's tested, it's supported, and it's extremely efficient. In the picture you see here, that's just an imposing of that into this, but we're going to reduce essentially the bottom 2 servers, the top 2 servers will go away. And the only servers we'll be running is the top one, which is our newest one, and that scale node is going to do everything for us that currently all those machines do. So again, insane savings on power consumption. I didn't push any numbers for that, but I know that it's a lot of efficiency. So that being said, the management's very easy. It relates directly with what we've been running. So my learning curve is very small to be able to administer the system. So it's the most efficient and cost-effective solution for our institution. Is through the research I've done and the quotes I've received. So I think Debbie provided a quote for you there, is what we're getting essentially. And like I mentioned, it's the full production redundant node with 3 units. This price gets us 5 years of hardware warranty with a next day turnaround, along with 5-year software warranty, which is 24/7 phone support, upgrades, version improvements, security patches as soon as they're released. They're automatically upgraded in real time. We said that the redundancy makes it such that there's not a moment you're not as current as you need to be in terms of the way it operates. The professional migration services using Carbonite, which is, again, one of the most reputable backup disaster recovery companies, along with Acronis for our backup and DR services. These are the backup and DR services are things that I used to have to accomplish with 3 or 4 free tools that coincided with the free platform. So there's a lot of more time to administer these, these weekly, daily progressions of backing up and mitigating any other failures. So this kind of wraps it all into a single platform. Again, the accessibility is unmatched in terms of what it's capable of. At this point, like I said, we have about 18 running virtual machines. I'm going to be able to scale that down to about 15 ultimately. And there's still room to grow on that machine with 5 more, 6 more, 7 more. It all depends on the workload of the computer, right? So if the server's hosting, let's say, an app that the entire middle school uses, that's going to be a pretty heavy workload on that one virtual machine, right? But then you have another virtual machine that's only doing, say, addressing for when you connect to Wi-Fi to make sure you get on the Wi-Fi. So that's very low impact on the performance. So you can just continue to stack these machines as long as you're, obviously cognizant of what your resources are. So this will put us in a position for 5 to 10 years in terms of not having to address a physical hardware need on site. And again, as more things move to the cloud, which they just are continually, most of our platforms now for education are cloud-based, along with a lot of the budgeting and everything else is already moved to the cloud. So again, on-premise, is what they call this, the on-premise footprint is becoming much smaller, which again allows us to do more with less. So, any questions? I know that's
I've got a bunch of questions.
Yeah, what do you got?
So this is you said this is a shift from the request for the new firewall hardware. What are we doing about that? Are we satisfied that that is going to be sufficient?
For the coming year, absolutely. It'll be addressed in the next budget year, absolutely. Okay. That's my next project.
Because that's a security thing. We need to make sure that we're
100%.
addressing that.
And everything's still compliant. Everything is still updated. So we're good to go there.
Okay. And you're saying that our current setup, it could remain running as is, but we're not going to have software updates and we're not going to have security updates.
Correct.
Okay. The triple redundancy, is that going to, would that be sufficient to address sort of like the ransomware attacks that we've seen that some districts have, where they basically said, we're not giving you access back to your, so.
What that'll do is, again, ensure no downtime. That's the biggest thing with having that triple redundancy. But also, if one machine becomes compromised, or if there's an indication that something in this node has been compromised, it'll shift to the fresh node, which has not been compromised. So yes, it's kind of like a fresh cutoff and then a restoration of service on the known good node. And then it also allows us, with the software licensing we're getting, to do full immutable backups, which are 100% not untouchable by ransomware. They're called immutable backups, and it just means that once you make a backup, it's locked and it can never be, unless you have the key, which we would have and they wouldn't. So it's basically a reverse ransomware situation. We encrypt it before they can.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Training costs, are those included? Do they give you some?
It's included, advanced training's included. It's a three 1-hour sessions virtually, and then I can choose to do more. There's insane amount of knowledge base in terms of articles, videos. It's all hand-hold onboarding is what they call it, which is nothing happens unless they're involved in it. And I went that route specifically for the reasons of not messing it up. Because again, it's a new platform for me. Although it is virtualization and the terms are common and the processes of migration, all that stuff is familiar. But again, with that the training is important, and I made sure to include that as a prerequisite for the system. Yeah.
Okay, so you're comfortable that you're going to receive enough or have enough resources to get up to speed.
I am, and the good thing is we'll be standing it up alongside our current environment, so we can run that side by side as long as we need to until we have that assurance from them, from me, from us that we can do that clean crossover to the new system.
Okay,
and they'll be with me the whole way. I have confidence in that.
You said that it's going to come with a 5-year license, 5 years worth of support, and 3 years of Acronis and backup.
Yep.
What are those costs after those 5 years?
By the time we get to the end of 5 years, it'll be about $1,000 a year for the hardware support. The software support's about half that. The Acronis is more expensive. What I hope to do in the 3 years I have with Acronis is to find a cheaper solution that will accomplish the same things for us. Because that is, the price point of the Acronis is pretty high. And that's only because it's literally industry standard VR recovery and the whole, it's the best stuff there. That's a really rudimentary way to put it, but it is a pricey tag for that Acronis licensing.
And is that like part of a promo or something? Because it doesn't seem to be, it's not on here.
It should be the last line on the,
oh, it's on the back.
Yeah, I think it's the last line.
Oh, okay.
So if you compare that pricing for 3 years versus the 5 years of hardware support for scale, you'll see that
Till 77.
there is a difference. And again, Acronis is just the.
Okay, so the 7,700 is the 3 years.
That's 3 years, yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I say in those 3 years we had that, I would definitely be finding an alternative solution to be more cost effective.
Okay. What is our current backup costs? And
about $2,500 a year all told.
this is about the same then.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'd say a little bit more, but a little bit, yeah. But again, what we're using now is not going to play with the new system.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
in
terms of like, if we're spending $2,500 a year now, and it's $7,700 for 3 years for this other better service, it's not really that much different.
Not when you get bottom line of it.
But obviously, we would appreciate your attempts to find out.
Yeah, well, like I said, it would be a new solution only because I know I can't use our current solution.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the security, this is going to be compliant with all the school security statutes and all that stuff.
That was one of my the big asks, not asks, but they actually had to do some custom work to allow for our open DNS and umbrella instances to run on. So they've already assured us that there will be custom coding available for that to make sure we have that part running virtually also. Much lower impact than a regular server. It's a long story, but yeah, yes, I am absolutely assured that everything we have is going to be supported 100%, and there will be no loss of security posture or anything like that.
Okay, because we have all these statutes that we have to abide by with security, but we also, it looks like from your list, we have our door key codes running on this server system as well. And so, if that sort of thing gets compromised, obviously that presents a much bigger security risk.
Absolutely.
Physical security risk. And then the last question was, we're buying the hardware, we're licensing the software. How long do we think that the hardware is going to be viable?
They say 5 to 10, or 10, up to 10 years is what we do a 5-year hardware replacement. So again, the machines are, I don't want to say it, they don't take a lot of abuse, as it were. There's not a lot of moving parts. So I know they do a ton of benchmark testing before they even leave their lab and get sent to us for hardware assurance and all that. I know their quality control is really high. And again, it's an Intel product, the machine itself, it's called an Intel NUC. It's just, again, a mini computer that, if you Google that up, you'll see that they're used, in wide applications, mostly industrial, because of their footprint and how small they are, but they're extremely powerful and reliable.
So just, if we're counting on a 5-year replacement, then this is basically our price every 5 years. Maybe actually a little bit more.
No, I mean, I don't want to say that, but I don't want to undercut it either,
Yeah.
Obviously. I don't think going forward that, I'm very confident that in 5 years we won't have to replace that hardware.
Okay.
That I'm extremely confident of that.
All right.
And again, if anything is, between now and then that looks suspect, or if there's some faulty, recalls or things of that nature, I'm fully confident that they'll take care of that and make sure we're in a good spot.
There's a 5-year hardware support.
Right.
Well, right, we have the 5-year hardware support that comes with the license, but I'm just thinking if we're re-upping our license for another 5 years, and we also have to spend the $9,000 for 3 new units every 5 years.
Oh, no. No, if we continue this 5 year after 5 year after 5 year, then there's no hardware replacement cost. I mean, that's, as far as that conditions of that warranty read, it's a no-fail guarantee.
Oh, okay, so they would upgrade or replace our equipment.
Absolutely, as long as we have that
continue
coverage.
licensing, which we would have to do anyway to get security updates
Yeah.
and everything, right?
Oh, yeah, we can extend, just like our phone system, we can extend that.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as we have that warranty in place, we'll have the next day service and we'll have the full replaceability.
And, okay, sorry, one last.
No, it's okay.
With respect to the licensing and if we are out of license, can we still receive security updates and things like that?
No.
Okay, so
No, that's,
so the
it will still operate.
$4,000 is something that every 5 years, a little under $1,000 a year that we're going to be thinking about, or $800 a year.
Yeah, adding into the recurring cost cycle.
As part of the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a new cost because our current virtualization software was free.
The software was free. We were still paying for warranty for the top machine, and the other two, the bottom two are end of life, so we can never get warranties for them or any kind of coverage at all. The middle two are end of life last year, so we just stopped paying for warranty service, extended warranty service for those two. We're still paying for warranty service for the top to the tune of about $800 a year.
Okay, so not actually right around the same.
I'm saying, yeah.
Okay. All right, I think that's it for me, thanks.
You're very welcome.
Did anyone else have any questions?
No, you answered my questions.
Sure.
I mean, my extensive tech background.
No,
so
yeah.
in layman's term, recurring prices on this, is this basically just a startup price, and then down the road, we budget for the recurring charges?
Well, yeah, ultimately, yeah.
That's how I understand it.
Yep, you're absolutely right. That's,
Okay.
yeah, this will get, like I said, this will get us out the door with that first 5 years of warranty assurance. But then, yeah, it'll be recurring costs post that, yeah. Because I'll be honest with you, I might have misspoke. I don't know if they'll give us another 5 year right off the bat. I don't want to speak for them to say we can do 5, then 5, then 5. It might be 5, then 3. But either way.
But that'll come out of your regular
Yeah,
budget,
100%,
your budget
yeah.
for, and this is basically a startup in my mind.
Yeah, it is, yeah, this kind of just like tears it all down. It's a forklift upgrade for the whole logical stack, as it were.
And I expect the power consumption data on our desk by morning.
I can put that together, yeah. Only because it would be so
Yes, I
substantial.
can.
I really wish I would have done that, because the numbers would be huge.
Luckily,
Seriously.
Joe doesn't have a desk.
Yeah.
Or do I care? I mean, my tech is, I still have an analog watch. My upgrade was I got a light on this one.
Technology, man, yeah.
So, does the
That's
scale like eliminate the need for those 4 beneath it?
I mean, we could repurpose them for, general storage or something, but ultimately, yes, yeah. I say that those 3 nodes will replace 4 dated physical servers and do the exact same job, if not better. So. And again, there's.
Could I, just for a second, I like Tracy, I met these guys about 15 years ago at one of those conventions that I used to go to all the time. And I would be in charge of 20 people that are CIOs of different companies. They came in one day, their presentation was they brought a huge, the thing like we have, they brought in all these servers. And they said that this replaces all of those. And he says, then the owner, one of the founders of the company, he's also talking about stuff that I really have no clue about. You know, I understand about 20% of what Trey is saying right now, you know, because he knows the rest of it. But he said, I can run this off my Chromebook, my son's Chromebook that he has at school. And I knew about the Chromebook stuff. But when he said that, I went, oh my God, you know, this doesn't take a sophisticated computer or anything, but it does replace that whole bank of servers. And it's amazing, just the software that they.
Yeah. All centrally managed, remotely, on-prem, wherever it's.
That's where my question was like leading, like what are the opportunities to reuse those machines? And, you know, not saying we're using it at full scale as they are now.
Yeah.
Power, not really the need for it, but.
No, they're still viable computing devices. Like I said, if there's, for instance, like our new STEM program, if, you know, once we start rolling that up, could definitely, one of those could serve as an app server for that program, perhaps, you know, something like that. That would be off our network kind of stuff, you know, that we, or like maybe if, when we get going with networking and things like, you know, in Dave's lab or something, and something for off network use that we can dedicate as a, you know, a lab setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, I mean, they're not getting thrown away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're right, I mean, it is, we made that investment, and they are, like I said, these two machines, the bottom two are, I mean, I wouldn't, yeah, they work. You could like store music on them or something. You know, I'd trust them to do that, basically, at this point, you know. The two above it are still, you know, they're still very reliable.
Do you sell them? I mean, is there...
There's not really a market for something that, again, those that are of that age, really. Yeah, but again, it could be, one of those could serve as again, we could set up a virtual lab and do, again, once we get into more coding and more stuff, more STEM activity, that would be a nice repurpose. Anyone else?
Could it help to eliminate the beginning of the year packets?
These ones, yeah, to just make sure they get all digital, yeah.
Nice.
We are working on that one for
Okay,
sure,
okay.
yeah. I just commented. Thank you all very much.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks for everything, Trey.
So this is the bottom line.
Do what?
This quote invoice is the bottom line of what we need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This doesn't-
yeah. So,
no,
No,
no.
and just so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page about what this cost represents. This is basically our startup cost. It looks like there's some installation in there.
Yep.
All the hardware.
Yep.
5 years of service and software licensing, so hardware service and software service.
Correct.
And the license for the first 5 years. 3 years of backup service.
Backup and disaster recovery service.
And disaster recovery service. So, you know, after those things sort of expire, we're looking at potentially, I mean, about 125 a year for, it looks like, for appliance service. Is that right?
The appliance service is,
It just says 5-year hardware support for scale computing appliance. So I'm thinking that's $625 for 5 years, $125 a year for hardware support.
correct.
And then about $800 a year for software support and licensing.
Correct.
And then approximately, if we can't find a cheaper solution, $2,500 a year for backup and disaster recovery.
Correct.
After that. The 800 a year, that's essentially the same as we're paying now.
Correct.
And the $2,500 a year is a little more, or actually, yeah, a little bit more than we're paying.
Right, for our current solutions.
Yeah.
What is the cost comparison versus the firewall project that you had?
The firewall project was quoted at about 11.5, roughly, to replace those units. And again, that's, you can't see them above that, but yeah. That's it's a HA unit, or a pair, which is one production unit, one failover unit that's running simultaneously, same concept as this. But yeah, and again, that would give us 3 years licensing for the firewall, along with upgrades and service as well. Next day turnaround on that is with the Sonic Wall also.
So this is double what you have
Yeah,
prepared?
it is.
Okay.
Again, I worked on the number. Again, that's why I say, like, it was over 30 initially. So I got him to move a good bit. I've dealt with, like I said, I've been dealing with the same sales guy for about 2 years now. He's really been pushing at me, and I think he did us right with this quote, ultimately. Their solutions are typically much larger than this. Like I said, they work in the small to medium SMB space, small medium business space, but they are starting to take on enterprise clients right now. So they assured us that their growth is only going to help us.
Can you, do you have a sense of what, if we were to like decide, maybe this isn't the year, what our licensing fees would be for our current software that used to be free now?
About $10,000 a year.
Okay.
I reached out to the rep and got yeah.
And that doesn't include sort of the add-ons that we would need, the disaster recovery?
We're using the same hardware we have.
Yeah.
It would just literally be the software licensing only, and the backup stuff. But yeah, ultimately, yeah.
So no added benefits for essentially the cost of what we.
Not at all. No, and again,
Much more.
it would be a little less time for me to administer because we'd be using their full license suite, which right now, like I said, I'm kind of cobbing together a couple free tools to get things done, which are totally efficient, and there's no security breach there at all, because they're all tools that are offered by VMware as free tools to administer the free licensing for VMware, and they just did away with all of it. So yeah, it would make life a lot harder.
And what do we have in the technology trust right now?
We have, like 38,000, and we'll be putting some more money in shortly. 30,000 in.
Do we have anything else
Is
teed
this a
up?
set price, or this is a set price? Do you need like up to 25, or is this set?
Was that quote is bottom. That is the exact, yeah.
And do we have anything else teed up or anticipated for the trust, the technology trust?
Technology, for this year, I don't
Not
think
for
so,
this year.
because it was the firewall.
That's we initially
Core
intended
routing
for
switch,
that.
what was that?
That's what we, the core switch and the firewall combination
Okay.
was at 11.5.
Okay.
So
That
we got
was what we
12 in,
had
yeah.
originally. Had for technology. So,
Yeah, besides the unforeseen, I don't have,
Yeah.
big enough projects, that at this point.
I mean, this seems like a bit of an unforeseen scenario.
Well, it absolutely was, in that, but again, it'd be far easier for me to mitigate what I'm losing here with this than I am, I'm not really losing anything with the firewall, that's just another year carryover, we still have the security in place. The standards have not been decreased at all with that system this year. I know I could address that next year, or this coming budget year, whereas this is screaming at me, like this has got to be done. The longer I put it off, the more expensive it's going to get. Because again, you can imagine everyone that was using VMware was running to anyone else. And of course, as that happens, their prices start to increase. So that's the market.
Any other questions? Keith? Good. I guess I don't see any public here for public comment, so I guess I'd accept the motion to approve the expenditure of $24,047.84 for the purchase of new virtual computing equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Amy, thank you, Joe. Any further discussion on that issue? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Trent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for all you do, not just this.
And same to you all, for sure.
It also looks like this company is.
All right, and we will adjourn, or actually accept the motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you, Tammy.
Second.
Is that Jasmine?
Yes.
Thank you, Jasmine. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I didn't even see that, that's great.
Did you see that, John?
You see?
On the bottom.
The bottom. The fine print at the very bottom, but that's fantastic. It's a, service disabled veteran-owned business, which I love, it's cool. Thanks for putting that out.
All right, then we will call to order the regularly scheduled board meeting. First item of business Unless there is an objection, then we will approve by consent, approve the minutes from September 11th. No objection? Okay, then we note that those are approved. I did not get any correspondence. No correspondence. And then Deb, you're up. Business administrative report.
Okay. So, before we all leave tonight, I have the DOE 25, which is the end of fiscal year 6/30/24 for the Department of Ed, the financial report, and the MS 25, which is the Department of Revenue's report. It all comes out of the same spreadsheet.
Blue pen only.
Blue pen. And I didn't pull together the full-blown, I usually give you a full summary of all the financials, the food service fund, that will be in the next packet. There is one order of business we need to do, which we normally do at this point. The board normally votes on the retained fund balance once we have completed the end-of-year reports for the DOE and begin the tax rate setting with DRA. So this year, per the calculation for the retained fund balance that the district adopted, the school board can retain up to $399,750.25, which is 5% of the net assessment. The overall unassigned fund balance from this year that was left over was $833,000 approximately. Whatever amount that we decide that the school board decides to retain tonight will be deducted from the unassigned fund balance and returned to the two towns during tax rate setting. Last year, we were able to retain $340,000. So the net assessment is based on the New Year's net assessed valuation of the budget. Again, last year we retained $340,000. We actually used $175,000 of that for the flooring project. So the remaining $166,000 got rolled back into this year's unassigned fund balance for the New Year's calculation. So part of that $833,000 of unassigned fund balances includes $166,000 from the part that we retained last year. So you can vote to retain up to the full amount or designate another amount. We do have additional flooring that some of this money could be used for again, instead of doing a warrant article like we did last year. Actually, Mark brought up another item tonight, windows in the elementary school that we might be able to use, the door too. Yeah, so there may be other uses of the retained fund balance that we could use, because all it requires, again, is a public hearing to use these funds.
So we had 833,000 fund balance.
Yeah, in the
Is
other
that
side.
average? What did we have last year?
Yeah, last year I think was a little bit more.
Okay,
But again, I'll go through that breakdown as I was going through it. I mean, we had a couple of teachers that left mid-year last year. We had one position that wasn't filled last year. We had a para that wasn't filled last year. I'll go through all that, all the pluses and minuses. I do have some of it here, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, again, salary-related benefits, we had some savings there just because of the changes in the staffing. We had some savings in our fuel. We had some other negatives though too. So again, I'll go through the whole thing. And again, the excess retained fund balance from last year that gets rolled back in. So
That's 160.
that's 166 of the 833.
Gotcha.
do you want that tonight?
Yeah, I mean, because I need to give the information to DRA.
Gotcha.
So again,
I'll make a motion that we retain the $399,750
And 25 cents.
and 25
this is
cents.
the full
Thank
amount.
you.
That's the 5%.
That's the
what-
5%.
That's a full 5%.
Yeah, and that's been verified by the Department of
I
Ed.
can second that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dan,
absolutely.
thank you, Joe. Any further discussion on that? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, and that motion carries.
Thank you, Deb.
And then, again, the manifests are here for signing, and we'll be beginning the 24-25 budget process in the next couple of weeks.
Yay. Woo-hoo.
Everybody's favorite time of year. It's the most wonderful time. Dr. Stay, Superintendent's report.
Yes. The biggest update on the three that I gave you is probably the holiday names. You'll see in our district calendar, they've all been adjusted to what the state says our holiday names are. So for instance, Columbus Day is called that. We can't call it Indigenous People Day. There's some new laws that have changed, and teachers can't use that terminology in their classrooms either, and that there have been some schools recently in the North Country being investigated for using that in the classroom. So I just wanted to share with you guys the RSAs and our adjusted calendar so that we're compliant with that law. And an email went out to all the teachers letting them know that these are the official New Hampshire holiday names, and please don't hear from that. And then we spoke a little bit about curriculum, and I had another great meeting. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, I apologize ahead of time. Because I'm terrible with that stuff. It's just automatic in my brain.
Well, just look here, it's all referenced appropriately for you.
Don't worry, we'll correct you, just kidding.
So Heather Krill has really taken the bull by the horns really around our curriculum review process and set up a very extensive spreadsheet where we're working with all the teachers to gather all of their curriculum documents so we can start that review process. In addition to that, we will have a framework coming forward to say what year we'll be reviewing what particular curriculum, and those will be reviewed K to 12, so that way that the curriculum is building on each other. So we're hoping to, by the end of the year, have ELA done. There's been significant progress, 6th through 12th on that over the last 2 summers, and starting the science one. We're actively working through some of that. Just, for instance, lab safety. How are we doing that across all of our high school? Are we doing it similarly? So more to come on that. The strategic plan, I did get an estimated cost. It would be about a 2-year project, about $30,000 a year. It's a little higher than I expected it to be. I'm going to reach out to a couple more agencies that can work with this around the strategic plan, and just bring some samples of the different agencies to you and the costs so you can see their final products. And then we'll have some actions you'll need to make on the frequency of the board meetings if you would like to act on that, school board committees, and this weekend's homecoming. We'll have our first emergency operation plan in October, and then we have our first professional development in service October 11th, focusing on literacy. To back that up, the elementary school spent 2 days with focusing on literacy, and I think that that was very well received. And then an additional day tomorrow for a few key staff members to really talk about how do we assess literacy in our district. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yep.
Any questions for Dr. Stidham? All right. And Mr. Stidham.
Thank you. Just wanted to report a few things going on. On Tuesday, the 18th, our middle high school students were able to go to the Lancaster Fairgrounds and participate in a career fair. I think we took a total of around, it says 45 to 50 students were involved in that with numerous chaperones. It was a day for them to experience different careers, right? Jobs outdoors, and they were able to go around the fairgrounds and participate in some of the professional careers that are out there that they could do, whether it be fishing game, whether it be blogging or other things. And they had food trucks, which they were really excited about. They get to choose, different types of food. We did take a lot of pictures. Thank you, Tammy.
I heard a lot of good things about the food trucks.
Yeah, oh, good.
And the fair too, my daughter
Yeah.
Penelope, she thought it was great.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rebecca, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah, so it was good, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is this something they're gonna do yearly now?
They said probably every 2 years.
Gotcha.
Try to have it up there, and it was actually cool, like, the schools were there, I guess, until about 3 o'clock, and then from like 3 to 6, they opened it up as an actual job fair.
Oh,
for
wow,
the
fantastic.
companies.
That's awesome.
So
Oh,
it was
that's
cool,
awesome.
they had, like, Eversource had a ton of trucks, and like inside one of the, kind of enclosed areas, but then outside, they just brought the line trucks, they're sending kids up in the big bucket.
I love it.
Tractors, and so it was good that they had, the schools plus, could do some.
What a great
fairs and
idea.
brought
I think it's
some stuff.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it was well received.
Cool.
It's a good
I think
thing.
it was 11, about 1,200 students attended, and then 150 chaperones, and there were over 300 vendors.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, she
That's-
said it was massive.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Great.
Like Highland Bike Park was there, like just a lot of different
Different,
types.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Dan Adams and Channel 3 Studio, they have kicked off this year for the Kent Connection. They worked on their episode number 2, so that is available for everyone to see. Yeah, it's going pretty well. Grades 4 and 5. The 4 and 5 teachers came to us at the end of last year, came to Mary and to me, and asked if we could grade like 6th grade. So it was, the transition wasn't so drastic. With the help of Ashley and Trey and working with Billy and Alma, we were able to make that transition occur. Because in the previous years, a lot of parents have seemed to be wanting that and not too sure what the other grading system was like, with 4 and 5 with the competencies. So anyway, we, 405 sent out letters to explain. I know that Ashley sent something out to just to explain what was going on with that grading system.
That's
So
good.
it's gonna be similar to middle school. So like I said, the transition is a little smoother when they
Yeah,
go
good
in.
idea.
Yeah. As Mary mentioned, homecoming's coming up. And is everyone excited about the bonfire that's going to be in the evening? Yeah, right, when was the last time we had a bonfire?
Many of the kids are excited about the bonfire, I've heard a lot about it.
Yes, everyone is. And hopefully we have food, because there's supposed to be food there also. Yeah, is that what it is, barbecue? Yeah. Spirit Week, right, kickoff Spirit Week, where, we have different theme days and leading up to homecoming. And then, if I may, there's just a couple things that I wanted to add to this, that we have our first college fair tomorrow. So when you were in the gym, you saw those tables set up, that's what that was for,
Nice.
for our first college fair, of the year. And tomorrow and we'll report later, but tomorrow we're going to Jean's Playhouse to see Shakespeare's play, The Tempest.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, that should be good. Everyone's excited for that. That's it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, a lot going on.
That's it, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Would that be mine if Peter leaves after his report? Obviously back here.
Or if you need me for anything else.
Oh, no, you have to
No,
stay.
I don't think there's anything else on the agenda yet.
Tammy, yeah, thanks, Tammy. Okay, I see how this is gonna play.
Thank you.
Just one quick question.
Yes.
Where is the bonfire gonna be?
I believe, this is what I was told, where the handicap parking is in the backfield.
Gotcha.
I think it's right in that area was the best place that the fire department said would be kind of,
Excellent.
yeah.
And when is that?
That is gonna be Saturday night, I think, starting around 6 or 7.
7 to
So
10.
so the.
7 to 10?
7 to 10, thank you. Yeah,
Cool.
homecoming will kind of wrap up around 4, so
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit of, time to set up and get ready for that, and people will come back,
Very cool.
and then I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good we're not keeping the kids up Friday night too late for the games.
That was why I asked when, I was thinking, yeah.
Right, and I think that was the thought, but then people said, oh yeah, then they have games
Right,
all
the
day
next
Saturday,
day,
so this way they can have a good time and
And they will have played all day long, so they'll be nice and calm,
Yes.
sit in their
Yeah.
chairs.
Is that what you're thinking?
Sure.
They're gonna be calm?
That is my recollection of how the school bonfires were when I,
Yes,
Yeah.
calm,
Like
calm,
that.
yes, absolutely.
Hey, Peter,
But fun.
is the college fit strictly college, the recruiters, military recruiters get invited to that, or is it?
I think Matt tries to do that and invite that in, you know, military crew. And sometimes they also have different days throughout the year that they come to lunch
They were part of it.
and they will recruit. But they're always welcome to come to that day, but a lot of times they do come during high school lunch. Yeah. Oh, and that reminds me, here, geez, kids had a blast, but Ashley Youngheim invited a friend who's in the civil patrol, civil engineering, and he was there with his drones, and you can imagine the kids getting a kick out of
Oh, the
flying
Civil Air
drones.
Civil Air
Civil Air
Patrol.
Patrol.
Civil Patrol, thank you, yes,
Yeah.
thank you. And they did it like in that virtual reality, so they could put that on and try to fly the drone like they were on the drone. Yeah, it was a little challenging.
Yesterday, you Plymouth State,
I'm sorry?
and yesterday them going to Plymouth.
Yes, yesterday they went to Plymouth State, that's right, with Jen Witcher in her college planning class. So that just gives them a little idea of like walking around campus and seeing different
Sure.
departments and classes and eating in the cafeteria and just getting that experience, what it would be like, you know, if you
I love
are
that PSU
interested
still
in
does
college.
that, or started doing it again, I guess I should say, yeah. Because we did it years ago with my kids.
White Mountain Community College has a day coming up too.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Is that at the Berlin campus?
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Drive safe.
Hmm?
Drive safe.
Oh, thanks, I will.
Committee reports, I think you folks met this evening with Silvis. Anything to report?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that the board needs to act on tonight. We talked about the fencing. We're gonna get a definite price on that. We've got to check on the one up by Mr. Noseworthy's house up there. We talked about replacing that generator shed down here, whether it makes more sense to tear that one down and put that money towards the new garage and implement the storage over there instead and centralize it all. Talked about redoing the elementary windows because some of them are outdated and a lot of them don't work, so we're gonna talk about doing that in sections. We're gonna talk about getting the architect or civil engineer to tell us what we need for the garage and for the moving of the path. We talked about doing the flooring and the sprinklers. The cameras are gonna be going through there Christmas, I believe he said, Christmas break.
Christmas break.
And the only thing that I didn't get to ask Mark that he took off, I was gonna ask him about the tractor bid, but I forgot to ask him about
Oh,
it.
we
It's on
have
the
that
agenda.
tonight. We have
Okay.
that, it's on the agenda.
And that was the only thing that I didn't
I
write
knew
down.
you were
but
getting one.
You gonna do something?
No, I was asked not to, because somebody else wanted to put their bid in.
That
so.
was it, nothing the board has to act on right now.
All right, thank you. Then, next up is
Do you want
nominations.
to go over these that was in there since you're on committees?
This was just, I think,
Informational for us, yeah.
informational, right? The list of committees, standing committees and whatnot.
Well, it's
Yeah, I think
on
they're on the-
it's on the agenda too.
Yeah, we had talked about trying to determine whether or not, based on the presentation that we had at the last meeting, you know, for all of the reporting and posting requirements, if it made sense to have some of these, you know, not necessarily be full board committees, because it seems like maybe some of them we weren't posting.
And the sick bank one was, we did ask, I said, Deb did ask the attorney his advice on that too, and he was gonna look into that.
Yep, and that was in your update and
Yeah.
the back end.
Yeah,
Jasmine Cover is listed here, is listed cardboard action.
Yeah.
oh, I didn't see that, I just thought since we were on committees, sorry,
Yeah, it's all right now.
yeah, whatever, I'm just
We're,
like sticking my nose in,
Look, it's fine. We're marching through
skipping
it.
the line.
Well, we're halfway through the conversation, so let's just continue with
Yeah, I
it.
agree.
I didn't see what the advice from the attorney was?
But he hasn't gotten back on the sick bank
Not yet, yeah.
piece yet, but what we did is we outlined, you'll see here, all of our committees, and the recommendation was that if we are having school board members on committees, then we have to post the agenda, take notes, but follow that school board format. So we went through current board standing committees and said, is there an RSA related to that? And are there board policies? So you'll see the top ones, which are traditional school board committees, and then our school district committees, in which we have school board members sit on them. There's professional development, there is a policy around that, so if you decide that you don't want school board members on that, we'll have to change that policy. Technology, there's no RSA policy or other requirements. Risk management, no other requirements. The Lin-Wood Coalition for Health Communities, no requirements. Food service, no requirements. Sick bank, that's attached to the CBAs. Our wellness committee, you have to have a school board member on that, and then emergency management, there are no. So you'll have to make, if you guys want, we can keep them the same, or you can say that we don't want school board members on certain committees, so you don't have to post the agenda and take the notes.
Don't they have to be,
retained.
any committee, school committee, don't you have to have minutes for that, or only ones with school board members on?
School board members.
Only
We take
ones.
internal ones, but they wouldn't be posted.
Right, they're not a public
Yeah,
minute.
they're not a public
Okay,
meeting.
gotcha.
So that's what he recommended
to
us
post
to
for
kind of
the
say,
meeting,
do
you don't
we
have to
want
post
these
minutes,
as
yeah.
public meetings?
You
where
don't have to
people can come?
retain the minutes as a public record,
Yes,
gotcha,
yes, yes,
gotcha.
yes.
Well, we get them generally in the packet.
Right,
for the
right.
week after,
Right.
meetings generally, but
Do those get posted to the website, like the wellness committee, risk management, do those get posted to the website?
They get posted as, that there's a meeting, yes.
I think the issue that we're looking to address is, making sure that we're in compliance with all of the posting minute and retention requirements of all these things. It looks like there's at least 5 committees that there's no statutory or policy reason why we need to have a board member on there. It sounds like the advice from the attorney is, if there's a board member, we should be following all these requirements. So if we wanted to stop, we would have to just remove the board members from those 5 committees. Some of them are policy, I guess one of them is policy. One of them, I guess we could address in this year's negotiation if we wanted to remove somebody from the sick bank. But is it?
Well, that we asked the attorney about, so we'll go with whatever.
Yeah, I think we can just,
Yeah,
we can make it as part of the negotiation.
sure.
Remove that requirement out, know that.
So wellness, does this mean we have a policy for it, but is it required?
Yeah, you have to
Yes,
through
you have to.
USDA, Food and Nutrition.
So that should be
Yeah.
here.
So those could be other, there wasn't an RSA, but
Gotcha,
USDA,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, so in order to make it so that we don't have to, or the recommendation isn't that we continue to post and retain and do all the things that we're supposed to do, that we would have to remove members from those committees. And so, risk management, that's you and Joe, right?
Me.
Health and communities, that's Jasmine. Food service, that's you,
Me,
Tammy.
me.
Sick bank, no one to do sick bank. Emergency management, and that's me, that's you. So those are the only ones that we could do anything about, potentially.
But are there any that should have a school board member? Like, I think emergency management should have a school board member.
Well, that's what we're talking about, is,
Yeah.
I
Right.
called up the people because
Gotcha,
do
gotcha.
you want to continue doing that? Do we think it's valuable to have a member on that? And if not, then, we could remove the board member, and then we could sort of set that committee. We save a little bit of administrative efforts when we have those meetings. If there's something specifically that we want to continue to be a part of, then, it's sort of up to us to decide that it's worth the administrative effort to keep a board
Gotcha.
member on. So, emergency management, I think that makes sense to have.
Yeah.
Because that's a coordinate, that's the committee that coordinates with like the fire department.
Yeah.
Right.
That's only once a year anyway, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Food service,
I'm on the food service committee and I've never met. So I'm gonna say it's probably not a necessary one to have a board member
Okay,
on.
I will second that for the Coalition for Healthy Communities.
okay.
Perfect.
So we could sort of remove the board members from those two committees and take those off of our sort of list of typical appointments?
Now, risk management, joint loss that's an RSA that you're supposed to have an equal amount of administration and employees. So, and I know I balance the scales almost every time, so that there doesn't have to be,
You're not admin or,
Right, it doesn't mention,
considered as a school board member, as an elected official, though you're considered.
yeah, but it doesn't mention that, yeah, all it says is.
Right, but it counts in the reporting, because I've done the reporting for years for the town, so.
So I mean, if we,
I mean, I don't care, it just, as long, it's
are you worried they won't have enough people?
correct. If there's 6 people on the committee, 3 of them have to be admin. 3 of them just, employees that aren't administration.
and does it have to be 6 people?
No, whatever
So
it
we could do
is,
a 4-person committee,
Yeah.
2 admin, 2 employees?
whatever it is.
Do you feel that there's value in a member of the board being on that committee? I guess that's the real question.
For the board, no.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it matters either way. It gets done, I mean, the committee does a great job, whether I'm there or not, so.
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember any updates that you've given us regarding that
No,
committee, so.
you just get the minutes.
Yeah,
It's staff safety, it's under workers' comp laws.
Right.
Right.
yeah,
You have to meet 4 times a year, and, yeah,
okay. Do we want to scratch that one too then?
sure.
Okay. And then the last one's technology. That's sort of, is it you, Joe?
Yeah, Kevin is now on.
Yeah. Have you been in those meetings?
Yeah, we haven't had one since summer, like June.
Years ago, there was a requirement from the DOE that we had to have a technology plan submitted to the DOE. That has gone away, and I think that's when that committee was established.
Gotcha.
To formulate the plan?
To
Or
formulate
after
the plan,
Okay.
to help with that plan, that had to be submitted periodically to
Yeah.
the states.
So we don't really
And
need that.
it was tied into some grants too, I think, at the time, but I don't.
Gotcha.
So you're
There's no
saying that we don't-
requirement of that anymore.
We don't need a technology committee at all, or,
I think it could be an internal.
I mean,
team
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
You know, and the
staff
other, I
and
think the
Trey
other thing
and
was,
admin.
right?
it was getting information, like, when it comes to budget time, so
Yeah.
you're more informed on some of this stuff.
Right, and I think, so I was gonna say, it makes sense though for there to be some forum for employee feedback to technology, what's working, what's not.
I'll just add, if I need to sit on that so we can get redo a new website, I'm happy to sit on that committee.
Okay, yes,
Here.
yes, leave them. When we get a new website, we'll readdress it.
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay, so then I'm hearing that we will remain involved with the technology committee.
Yes. Now, professional development, it's not required, we do have a policy on it, is that something we want to review? Do you,
Why don't we put
is it
that on the
valuable
policy?
having a school board member on the professional development committee or not?
I haven't, in the 2 years I've been here, I don't know if they've met, so.
And I feel like, I mean, unless a board member is understands what professional development for educators looks like and needs to be, then I don't know how much value we would add.
I would agree with that.
You know, we're not educators, we're not.
Can we put that policy on for the next, or an upcoming policy committee meeting?
There's some other people involved in all of these policy, or all these committees. I mean, with professional development specifically, I guess, maybe it makes sense to consult with the other folks in the committee to see if they find value in having a board
I'm
member
not
there.
sure there has been, what we did this year and last year for some professional development, that's how we got literacy. We pulled a literacy group together and we reviewed where we are, and then what professional development we want to move forward. So we'll continue to do those pieces in the collective bargaining agreement, not the collective bargaining, I'm sorry, the teacher evaluation talks about a policy, but we have to really look at both of those evaluation systems and the professional development committee. There's stuff that's kind of intertwined that doesn't pan out the way the school operates, so.
Gotcha.
Those would need to go under review, and I think there is value in having some professional development committee internally. That's some of the work too that the teacher leaders are doing, and people applied to be part of those teacher leaders, that they'd be recommending professional development moving forward.
That's cool.
So your assessment, though, would be that we don't necessarily need to have a board member involved in that?
I don't think you do.
Okay.
But that would be.
So maybe it makes sense to pull that policy and whatever other intertwining policies that you think we could look at and just, make some changes to help whatever your efforts are be more effective with aligning your curriculum review and, professional development.
We will have some policies coming forward, probably around class time and schedules and class offerings. Those will come forward once we get there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so I don't think we need any official board action on that, but we can just note that we're withdrawing from those four, the risk management, health communities, food service, and those are actually just those three.
Right.
And then we'll address the professional development when and if we decide to change that policy. And then I guess.
We'll address the sick bank in the negotiations.
Right.
Perfect.
Right. Let's go back to staff nominations, recommendations, resignations. Nothing, okay.
Good.
We had a board meeting schedule in here. This is an issue that Jasmine raised about, the necessity of the 2 meetings a month.
I guess not really an issue, I don't have an issue with it, I just, over the years, looking into what other schools do, we meet more than other schools, more than big schools. And as she kind of lined out options, there are some times of the year where we definitely need 2 board meetings a month, but there are also some times of the year where we don't. And everybody is busy, everybody works real hard, and just take a look at it, just to bring it to our attention and take a look and see if we're, doing what's best for our school, or if we need to make some changes.
And I think maybe one of the potential suggestions would be we keep the current schedule that we have with the sort of like having an anticipated bi-monthly meeting, with the option of Dr. City notifying us if she doesn't think there's sufficient material on the agenda to warrant, that, and then we can, potentially just, not have a meeting if we don't have anything, if we don't, obviously, nobody wants to waste anybody's time, so.
Yeah, I like that option better. I'm more comfortable with that than just going to once a month, even on and with these exceptions, meeting twice, because there is value in having it mapped out the way that we have it mapped out and have people have that time aside. That seems to be a safer, more comfortable way to do it.
So I guess it would involve us sort of empowering you to sort of make that call on our behalf. And I guess it would maybe, we get these agendas and everything basically on the Friday beforehand. If on that Friday, you say, look, we don't really have much at this point, it would make sense to maybe not have it and roll over to the next meeting. That way, if any member has an issue with that or has some issue that they want, and they want to have that meeting, we could at least they can make that request at that point, and we can just keep the meeting on.
Okay, sure.
Does anyone have any issue
I have
with
just a
that?
real quick question. What about the policy in the facilities meetings before each meeting?
Yeah.
That's what I was just thinking about, too.
Yeah.
I am perfectly okay.
Policy,
those at any
you can have them
You can have them
anyway.
at any time.
Well, we could have them
And then once
anyway.
a month, yeah.
Even if we
it-
don't have a full
right.
meeting, we
Yeah.
could meet in the office and have a policy meeting and then go home.
Well, and her
Same with
suggestions
facilities.
here, or.
Even if we don't have the meeting after.
We can roll it over to, if we're gonna roll a meeting over, we can meet for a half hour after that meeting. I mean, it's
Right,
no
Right,
big deal.
right.
I would think you'd keep your policy and your facility meetings
Mhm.
the way you have them. Policy, you have to meet every month on
Yeah.
that. Those things
Mhm.
change so frequently.
Yeah.
And you just wouldn't have a board meeting that night.
After, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
It's easy to get backed up with those policies.
It's very
Yes.
easy to get backed up. You don't want to be
Yeah.
canceling those.
So no matter what, those board members have to come in twice a month, no matter what.
Right. Or
or
maybe
just
once a
schedule
month,
it
yeah.
accordingly, right,
Right.
like if we end up having
Yeah, there's also
second.
the possibility that, like, you know, if it's a facilities week, we're not gonna have a board meeting, you could say, well, let's meet on Tuesday afternoon instead.
Right,
You know, As long as
exactly,
there's
just
a
offer-
posting notice in
Right.
time. I mean, I'm okay with that. To be frank, I don't anticipate that that's gonna happen all that often.
I don't
It seems
either. I
like we
think it's
do
just,
have,
by the time you get stuff together,
yeah,
Right.
just gonna meet.
but,
Yeah.
I'm expecting it now.
yeah. Just checking his email every Friday.
One day.
That's why I
Show
sit,
up here every other Wednesday.
that's why I sit down here and go
By
to trouble
himself.
minutes.
And then Arkansas, Florida, Hawaii.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Go ahead, I dare you.
I'm not gonna, I'll wait till it's turned out. Okay, so I think, I mean, if everybody's okay with that, then we can just note that you're, that sort of empowered to make that call, and if somebody with the clear understanding being that if any member has an issue and wants to have a meeting, that we will have a meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. And nothing in new business, we have a tractor sale in new business.
I know, there's one bid, yeah?
It is a hot
Yeah,
topic.
so as you know.
One bid?
As you know, we've had this posted for a while, and we reposted it and put it out in different ways, and we did receive a bid by the deadline. And it's,
Survey says.
Do we have?
Does it meet the minimum?
it meets the minimum.
Okay, did we have a minimum? I was gonna say we had. a
Yes,
minimum,
we
right?
did have a minimum of $7,500. The bid that we received was from Jacob Morris, $7,529.99.
Is that shaking out his piggyback?
I love it.
I don't know where it
29.
Let's give them the 99 cents off.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
I mean, we
ever,
had a number of people look
Bid
at it,
it.
Mark said, and,
Yep.
you know.
Then
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Jacob Morris
I
for
second.
the amount stated for the tractor.
Absolutely second.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Joe. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, and Jacob is the proud owner of the
Good for
tractor.
Jacob.
He'll get some good use out of it.
Absolutely,
Drive it.
yeah,
And that is more than we were gonna get on a trade-in, right? So
Yes,
That's a
absolutely.
win
yeah.
for, that's a win for
We
anybody.
were gonna get 7 on the trade originally, and then
Yeah.
it went down, yeah.
And it benefits a local business. so.
Absolutely, a local graduate, alumni business, yes.
All right. I don't see any students, but we do have staff this evening.
Got a lot of new business he's gonna get. Yeah, I got a couple, here are some notes from the library media specialist / health educator / ELO coordinator, Christy Duras. From the library, the elementary library is now genrefied. The students are pulling more books off the shelves, finding different books, different kinds of books, and also finding what they were looking for faster. Melissa and I love this change and are super excited about it. From the help desk, middle school health class recently finished up a mental health and communication unit. They created mental health resources, flyers, and positive affirmations that are posted around the middle high school building. From middle school coding, These students are resilient. We are venturing into a new language of coding, and it is getting difficult. However, most have made it through 14 of the 17 lessons of the Accelerated Intro in CS program. And in ELO news, we have 4 students taking advantage of the amazing program. Our community partners include Loon, the Jack, Quick Lock, and hopefully South Peak. She's still working on that one. And the PSU student teachers are doing well with the high school health and PE classes. They will start teaching some middle school health classes this month as well. And from the English department on Wednesday, September 25th, some of all of the middle high school students participated in a theater workshop in preparation for tomorrow's performance of Shakespeare's The Tempest at Jean's Playhouse. All of our students in grades 6 through 12 will also walk over to see the show by the Advice to Players tomorrow. Thank you for supporting this feature.
Nice. Thank you
It was a
very
pretty
much.
fun workshop the middle school had this morning.
Cool.
It's an acting.
So, do you know, when you said that the library is genre-fied, do you know what she means? Does that mean that they're sort of organized into genres, not just by, title or?
Right, and the Dewey Decimal, yeah. So this summer, they spent a lot of time, I don't know the details, but yeah, overhauling the elementary.
So it's more like a
I
bookstore.
think she
Right.
created
Like a
a system on her own
hiking
too.
or whatever.
Oh, really?
Right,
That's very cool.
Yeah.
so. it's going
Excellent.
really
Yeah,
well.
no, that's awesome.
Whatever gets the books in the kids' hands easier.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do not see anyone from the community here. That's Bart or something today? No? Then,
There's no non-public, no?
no non-public, although, are you also? Then I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Joe. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you.